All right, Donna Brazile is leaking more questions. We got wind of that, affecting a whole bunch of questions, all being ferreted over rather secretly but nicely, succinctly, and apparently to no one's knowledge at CNN, to the Hillary Clinton campaign. Former RNC Chairman Haley Barbour on that, and the fact, I guess, Haley, what really got my attention is at first she denied it, now she's embracing it and essentially saying, you have a problem with it? I don't. It's weird.
Well, look, the problem is when the news media starts taking sides, and of course Donna's the chairman of the Democratic National Committee right now, but she is and was at the time a paid consultant or whatever you call it to CNN. And we've seen more and more and more of that in this campaign, and I can ever remember of the news media being part of the campaign. You know, it is almost as bad as when CNN's Candy Crowley in the 2012 campaign in a debate argued with Mitt Romney about whether President Obama had said Benghazi was an act of terrorism, and finally cut him off. Obama jumped in and said, say that again, Candy. And then it turns out she was wrong. Romney was right, and she was wrong. You have to go down to
on this, you don't have to be a Republican or a Democrat to know someone's secretly getting questions that are going to come up at a town hall or a debate or several of these. And no one making a big deal of it. I know now we find out that mid-October CNN fired her, but the message was, certainly even the media reaction, what's the big deal? If this had been something like what you might have done, or a Republican had done it, I would imagine you'd be just short of electrocuted.
Well, when I was party chairman 20 years ago, fear not, there wasn't anybody in the liberal media elite who wanted to help me and give me better questions.
Well, there is that. I didn't think of that.
It's a non-story. But I do think the American people looks at the news media today as much more balkanized than it's ever been. And also for a lot of the media that they really have so obviously taken sides. I mean, the New York Times and the Washington Post, it's one thing to editorialize, but their editorialization runs right through the front page.
Do you expect that to change at all, or that the media will change its approach, regardless of who wins? You know, you always hear these reports, if it's Donald Trump, they're going to go on the warpath. If it's Hillary Clinton, they're going to just kind of continue what they do. But it will be very divisive, and it will still be what it's been.
I would be very surprised if this kind of behavior stops, because I think a lot of interests think that it feeds their ratings. As I say, the media has become more and more balkanized, and so people who appeal to liberal audiences, the networks that do that, have a tendency to promote that because it gives a bigger audience. Same thing for the conservative side. We would all be better off if everybody played the cards face up on the table. But we have learned that's not going to happen. And when you look at Hillary Clinton, who is the most distrusted candidate, and she and Trump together are the two most negatively perceived candidates in the history of polling for president of the United States. When you look at that, you understand that there's going to be a big audience for here's what's terrible about the other side.
Right.
And that's mostly what this campaign's been about, Neil, instead of being about issues and problems.
You know, I always wonder, like, if Genghis Khan were running, what would the negatives be? Well, I guess we won't know. All right, Governor, thank you very, very much. Good seeing you again.